Hi there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it happens to be for you. It's Clara. How are you today? I'm going to offer some hip openers in this class. So hips, yes, juicy. They're our favorite, right? Our hips are somewhat in the center of our body. Our legs plug into our hips, our low back plugs into our hips. And there's a lot of muscles that run from the low back to the thighs and vice versa, and there's a lot of connection through the hips. So the hips they're our largest joint, but they're often our stiffest. And lots of times things show up in different parts of our body. Our low back, our legs, our hamstrings, it all plugs in together. So the hips are really important. They are also the place where, yogic tradition, we store our emotion in our hips. And by that we mean when you start getting into the hips, and it can be juicy, that's where most stories come up for us. Why am I here? Why did I decide to do this? This sucks. I'm not good at this. All that kind of stuff. So as much as possible, know that that's coming, but let it go. All right? Nothing lasts forever. Your breath is going to be really important through all the hip exercises that we do today. All right? Allowing the hips to let go, allowing the fascia in the hips and the muscles around the hips to let go. I'm not in the room with you, so I can't offer specific feedback, but you're going to have to gauge and decide in your body what you're feeling. Is it pain? Is it something that is too much? Do I need to back off? Or is this something that I can breathe through? And when things feel tight, see if you can breathe a little bit more. I'll coach you through that when we get there, but the breath is going to be really important here. So focus on the breath. Use your breath. Obviously, listen to your body. You know your body better than anybody. So as always, if something is too much, you're going to back off. Feel free to modify as much as you need to. Okay, that's always allowed, as you know. And we'll get into the hips today. I recommend that you have a couple of blocks for support. I also recommend that you have a strap, and we're going to do some thigh stretching with a strap for support. So you can have a little loop in your strap ready to go if you know that you're going to need that later on. And you can always pause your video, obviously, at any time and get the props that you need or take a break. Okay, so let's get going. I'll join you on the mat. So just take a moment to lay down, bring your body onto your mat. Take a moment to arrive, as we say. Feel the support of the earth, the mat, the ground underneath you. It's a lot easier to come into a studio setting and have this moment or these few moments to arrive on the mat when we're all doing it together. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult when you're in your home and perhaps you have distractions or people nearby or pets wandering through. So focus on the breath as much as you can. Feel the weight of your body on the mat. Start to draw the breath in through the nose, filling up the torso, the chest. Exhaling through the nose as much as you can as well. Let all the breath come out of the body slowly. Inhale to expand. Feel the expansion of the chest, the side ribs, the upper abdomen, the lower abdomen. Send the breath all the way down to the pubic bone. Like you're filling up a big balloon with breath. And then exhale slowly to release the breath out of the body. If you know Ujjayi breathing, you can constrict the back of your throat slightly as the breath leaves the body. Empty the lower abdomen, the upper abdomen, the chest and the side ribs. And then again, inhale to expand. Visualize the breath coming into the body. Exhale to release. One more like this. Inhale to expand. Feel the whole body fill up with breath. Exhale to release. And you can do as many rounds of breath as you need to get yourself going here. Obviously, you can pause the video. When you're ready, you're going to draw your knees into your chest. Take your hands to the outsides of your shins and just make some circles with the knees. So we're waking up the hip joints slowly. You can move with your breath. There's no right or wrong here. You can take the knees in the same direction. One way, and then the other way. Or they can move apart and together in opposite directions, like you're drawing circles on the ceiling with your knees. You can start to circle your ankles. If you've done the foot series with me, then you know that the feet are important as well. You need to wake up the ankle joints and the muscles in the feet. And breathe. Notice what you're feeling in your body. Notice if you need to linger in one spot a little bit longer than the other in another. And then plant the sole of the left foot on the floor. I'm mirroring you so that when you look at your screen, you can just follow along. Interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. So inhale to engage. Feel the expansion, the resistance of the hamstring against the hand. Bend the knee if you need to. And then exhale to release. Inhale to engage. You can stay for the exhale. Inhale to re-engage or engage a little bit more. Exhale to release. Move through that a few times. Again, you can circle the ankle or point and flex the foot. Notice what you're feeling in the back of a leg. And just breathe. Yeah, no right or wrong here. Waking up the back of the leg. We always ask a muscle to engage before we lengthen it. So be mindful here. You can move slowly as you need to. And then draw that right knee into the chest. Give it a squeeze. Extend the left leg long. Let's get into the hip flexor a little bit. Lengthen that hip flexor on the left side. Engage the core slightly, gently. And then lower the head and the shoulders. Keep the leg extended. Or plant the sole of the left foot. Just draw that right knee to the right. Take the inner thigh towards the ceiling. And you can move back and forth here a little bit if you wish. And then roll onto your left hip. Draw the right knee across. Take it a little bit higher than your left knee. Extend the right arm out to the side. Take your left palm onto the outside of the right thigh. And you can allow that right shoulder to lift up and just get a little bit into this muscle here, the QL. The bottom of the low back connects to the outer hip. Open through the chest here. You can look towards your extended arm. And you can have your hand anywhere that feels comfortable. Maybe you want a little more support. You're going to draw it beside your hip. Just breathe here. Or you can extend the arm away on a diagonal away from you, getting a little bit into the opening of the chest and the shoulder. And then slowly draw both knees into the chest. Give them a squeeze. Let's extend both legs towards the ceiling. Palms will come to the floor. And just point and flex the feet here. Circle the ankles. And then draw the knees back into the chest. Plant the sole of the right foot or extend it long. Interlace your fingers behind the left thigh. Press the left heel towards the ceiling. Inhale to engage. Exhale to release. Again, feel the resistance now of the hamstring against your palm here. Breathe into this. So even though we're going to do hip openers, we have to get into the legs a little bit as well, right? They need to be ready and warmed up. We can't just jump right into the hips. It's all connected here, so we've got to warm up the back, the legs, the feet, and slowly make our way into the hips, a little bit deeper. And you can circle that ankle as before. And then draw the left knee into the chest. When you're ready, extend the right leg long. You can tuck the chin up. You can let that heel hover. Engage through the legs and the feet. Squeeze the left knee into the chest. You can roll onto the right hip. Again, bend the bottom knee if you need to. Try and take the left knee a little bit higher towards the chest. Right hand onto the thigh. Open the left arm to the left or keep it beside your hip. So now a little bit into the low back. Breathe here. Inhale to expand. Send the breath. Visualize it going where you need it. And then exhale to release. Let the muscles relax. And sometimes yoga is a millimeter at a time. That is progress. That's good. It's all good. Breathe into that. And then draw both knees into the chest. Squeeze the thighs in towards each other. Press the heels towards the ceiling. Point your toes as much as you can. Bring the toe mounds and the arches and the inner heels towards each other. Point, point, point. Feel the stretch through the front line of the leg. And then slowly flex, flex, flex. Pull the toes back towards your face like you're trying to make the back line of your leg longer. Breathe here. Push the low belly into the spine. Engage the core. We need to ask the core to engage, to stabilize us, before we can ask any of the limbs or the muscles of the other limbs to engage. So keep the heels together. Pull the toes apart, away from each other. And you can spread the toes or wiggle the toes. That's it. Press out through the inner lines of the legs so that like you're pushing the heels towards the ceiling. Still try and pull the toes back towards your face. And now bring the toe mounds together, pull the heels apart. You can curl the toes in towards each other. And move through that a few times. So engage the core, push the low belly into the spine, flatten out your back. Use your palms here to help you out. So your core is not just your abdominals. The core is anything that is supporting you. And this is obviously your back, your legs, your arms, your shoulder blades, yes, the abdominals too. And then when you're ready, just draw the knees into the chest. Oh, we didn't take the left leg wide, so bring that wide to the side, plant the sole of the right foot. Take the inner thigh towards the ceiling. And then we can do that with both knees. Pull the knees wide towards the armpits. Flex your feet. Take your shins to vertical. Happy baby. So keep your spine nice and long and flat along the mat. It's not about getting your hands to your feet. It's about opening through the hips, pushing the low belly into the spine. And you can use the backs of your arms on the insides of the legs. Circle out the ankles. You can rock back and forth here, or extend one leg or the other. That's it. Breathe. And then slowly start to bring the soles of your feet together. See if you can keep your hands connected onto your legs somewhere, your ankles, your feet, closer to, even behind the thighs. That's fine as well. Connect the soles of the feet. Allow the knees to come away from the torso as much as possible. If you can, interlace your fingers on the outer blades of your feet. Tuck the chin into the chest. Pull the knees away from the torso. Keep the spine long. Getting a little bit into the neck as well. Waking that up gently. Breathe here. And then slowly lower the head and the shoulders. Keep hanging on to your feet. Again, come into a happy baby. And if you need to slide your hands towards your knees or to the backs of your thighs, do that. Keep the back flat. Try not to let the bum lift up. All right? And keep pulling the knees wide. Keep the feet wide, like you're holding up the ceiling with your feet. Breathe here. That's it. And then once again, bring the soles of your feet together. If you can, interlace your fingers on the outer blades. Tuck the chin into the chest. If you can rock along the length of your spine here and come to a seated position, coming into a Baddha Konasana, do that. If that doesn't work for you, just simply roll to one side, make your way into a seated position. Sit up tall. Bring the soles of your feet together. That's it. I'm a little bit off center here. Good. Zip up the core. Take the shoulder blades down the back. Sit as tall as you can and allow the knees to come away from you towards the floor. Breathe here. Now you can take your heels closer towards your torso or further away, but sit as tall as you can so that you're not in this position here. All right, if you feel like you're curled through the spine, just take your feet further away and engage the core, take the shoulder blades down the back. You want to have a nice long spine here as much as you can. And breathe. Yeah, that's it. Good. And now hinge at the hips. It's like you've got a little cord pulling you forward. Draw the heart forward through the thighs, bringing it forward. Maybe the backs of your arms will come to the insides of the legs. It's still early. Breathe here. Keep hinging at the hips. You're trying to make your spine as long as possible, and your neck is an extension of the spine. And then you can tuck the chin into the chest, curl through the spine. Maybe the forehead will come towards the feet. You might even extend the fingertips forward, tenting the fingers. Breathe here. And then use your fingertips to walk yourself up. That's it. Nice. All right. Bring the thighs together. Extend the legs long out in front. Sit up tall. Zip up the core. It's like you've got an imaginary wall behind the feet. You can take blocks on each side of your thighs if you need a little more support. If you can bring your hands to the floor, shoulder blades come down the back. Good. And just point and flex the feet here. Actually, we're going to do point, flex, crunch. Point, flex, crunch. Yeah. Just waking up the feet a little bit more. Engaging the core. Right? So the feet have to participate. The core has to participate. That's it. Nice. And you can circle out the ankles here. Keep engaging through the core. Try not to slump through the spine. Use your blocks for support. If you feel that, it helps you a little bit. That helps maybe take the shoulder blades towards each other, and it reminds the core to stay engaged. Good. All right. And let's take our legs to one side. Whew. Come into a tabletop position in the middle of your mat. Okay, so just as a review, tabletop, arms are outer shoulder width apart, fingers are spread, knees are hip width apart, toes are going to be tucked. Take my socks off here. Toes are going to be tucked. So this is tucked, this is untucked. Making sure the shoulders are over the wrists, the hips are over the knees. Here you are, tabletop. And as you exhale, press the floor away. Press into the hands and knees and the toes. That's your base. Tuck the chin into the chest. Round through the spine. Push the shoulder blades towards the ceiling. As you inhale, lift the heart, lift the tailbone. Soften the elbows. Let the belly hang. Move with your breath here. Don't get too caught up on which one is the inhale, which one is the exhale. But move with the breath. And now we're flossing up the spine. Making sure the spinal cord can run through the vertebrae really easily. Practicing the breathing. As much as possible, have your movement follow the breath. Just warming up the elbows, the neck, the spine. And now untuck your toes. Bring your toe mounds together. Take your knees wide apart, and then just walk your fingertips forward. Tent your fingers, walk your fingertips forward. Let your chest melt down into the floor. Press into your fingertips. Push the shoulder blades towards the ceiling. The forehead might be a little bit off the mat. Keep the hips heavy. Keep pushing into your fingertips, sending your hips back towards your heels. Breathe here. Feel the strength of your torso. And then slowly let the palms come to the floor. Let the forehead rest. Maybe the chest melts towards the mat a little bit more. Breathe here. That's it. And then slowly use your fingertips to walk yourself back up to a vertical position. Good. That's it. So sitting on your heels, notice how this feels on your feet. If you need the support of your blocks, you're going to take that. If you need a cushion between your hips and your heels, you're going to take that. Let's bring the knees together. Tuck your toes under, so shift your weight forward. And then walk your hands back so that you can bring your torso to vertical. The shoulders will be over the hips. and you're sitting on your heels. We're going to stretch the tops of the feet a little bit here. Breathe into this. Inhale, reach the arms up. Interlace your fingers. Flip the palms towards the ceiling. Extend through the elbows as much as you can. Breathe. And then release the arms to a T. Press up through the hands. I call this stop sign hands. Notice that the chest is curling forward. So you've got to engage the postural muscles as well as the core here. That's it. If you need to come out of this at any time, you know you can. One finger at a time. Bring each hand into a fist. Drop your wrists on the ends of your arms. We're trying to just distract what you might be feeling in the feet. And then bring your fingertips to the floor or to your blocks. Press into those. Come onto the toe mounds. Good, good, good. All right. If you can, push your knees towards the ceiling. And again, your heels are going to be underneath your sit bones. You can take a little bit of a balance here, build some strength in the feet. That's it. Palms can come together, or you can have the support of the blocks if you need them. Bring your fingertips to the floor. Start to pull the inner corners of the heels towards the floor. Come into a forward fold. And I'm going to recommend the block under the hands for the first one. Shift your weight forward so the hips are over top of the ankles. Let the head go so you're looking between your thighs or at your belly button rather than at your feet. If you're looking at your feet, you're holding your head. So let the head go a little bit more. Feel the extension in the backs of the legs. Breathe here. And then bend your knees. Connect your chest to your thighs. Interlace your fingers behind your low back. If that doesn't work, you can always have a strap to hang on to or the edges of your shirt. Take the thumbs away from the sacrum as much as you can. Let the head go. Bend your knees a lot. Keep the connection between the chest and the thighs for the moment. Get into the shoulders. And now you can send the sit bones towards the ceiling if you wish, extending out through the backs of the legs. Very gently. It's still early. Release the arms. Let them go. Tuck the chin into the chest. And we're going to uncurl one vertebrae at a time. The head is heavy. The arms are heavy. Stack the vertebrae. Come all the way up to standing. Palms face forward. Draw the shoulder heads up towards your ears. Circle them down and around and back. That's it. Good. And here you are in Tadasana or Samasthiti. Standing tall, feet together, palms face forward. Zip up the core, shoulder blades down the back. Engage through the feet. Feel all four corners of your feet. Inhale, reach the arms up. Take the right wrist with the left hand. Get really long. We're going to lean over to the left and send the hips to the right. Feel the stretch in the side body, the side of the hip, the outer thigh. Come all the way back. Other side, take the left wrist with the right hand. Get really long. Lean over to the right. Send the hips to the left. Squeeze the thighs towards each other. Send the hips a little bit more. Feel that stretch in the outer hip. Come all the way back. This time, interlace your fingers. Flip the hands towards the ceiling. Extend through the elbows. Bring length from the pubic bone to the chin so that we're not here, we're here. Press out more through the index finger, finger mounds. Breathe here. And now here we go. We're going to lean over to the left. Send the hips to the right. Extend through the elbows a little bit more. Send the hips a little bit more. Squeeze the thighs. Feel the strength of your feet. Wow. A little bit of a balance, even though it shouldn't seem like it is. Come all the way up. Release the arms. Bring them to shoulder height. That's it. And let them come all the way down. Take a full inhale here. And a full exhale. And inhale, reach the arms up. Interlace the fingers in the opposite interlace. So take a moment. It might feel awkward. That's okay. Do it anyway. And then again, flip the hands towards the ceiling. Press out through the index fingers. Try to send the pinky blade side of the hand back. Try not to let the chest crunch in. So bring length from the pubic bone to the chin. Engage the shoulder blades a little bit more. Squeeze the thighs. Extend through the elbows. There's a lot going on here. It doesn't seem like it. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? Here we go. We're leaning to the right. Send the hips to the left. Squeeze the thighs. Extend through the elbows a little bit more, send the hips a little bit more. Keep that length in the front body. Come all the way back. Release the arms, bring them to a T. And then let them come down to the sides. That's it. Stand nice and tall. And just be aware of your posture. So when we're standing here, notice if the shoulders are curling in. See if you can engage the shoulder blades down the back. So start by pulling the pinky blade side of the hand towards the floor. And then pull the index finger and thumb side of the hand towards the floor. So as you extend through the arms a little bit more, you lift the chest and you engage the muscles of the back body a little bit more. Feel the length here. Breathe into that. Press into your feet. That's it. And then inhale, reach both arms up. Pull the hands down through heart center. Bend your knees, fold over your legs. Let it go. Take a halfway lift here. So bring your fingertips to your shins or keep them on the floor. Lengthen through the back of the legs. Lengthen through the spine. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees deeply, plant your hands. We're going to step the right leg back, step the left leg back, and come into a downward facing dog or a tabletop. Pedal up through the feet. So walk your dog, take a look at your hands. Feel the weight evenly distributed through the whole hand. Breathe here. Press into your hands evenly as well as into your feet. And then come high up on your tippy toes. Come sideways. Bend your knees. Push more into your hands. Send your hips further up and back. Feel the strength of your hands like you're pushing your mat away. Keep your hips nice and high. Slowly start to draw the inner corners of the heels towards the floor first. Then the outer corners of the heels. Feel the length in the back of the legs. It doesn't matter if the knees are bent or if the heels never come to the floor. Feel this here. Keep pressing into the hands. Let the head go. And then float forward to plank, top of a push-up. Your shoulders will come over top of the wrists, long through the crown of the head. The heels are stacked over the toe mounds. Notice if you're dumping into the low back or if you're pressing the butt up towards the sky. You want to have the shoulders level with the hips. Breathe here. So feel the strength of your whole body. And how long will this last? You may wonder. Keep breathing. Feel the strength of your whole body here. This is important. You need this whole body strength. Bring the knees to the floor. Shift your weight forward slightly so the shoulders come past the wrists. Keep your elbows glued to the rib cage. Lower yourself down. Pushing the floor away as much as you can will engage the muscles of the back body more. Untuck your toes. Take your fingertips wide off the mat. Tent them. Press into your toenails to engage the legs. You'll feel your knees lift. Inhale, peel the heart up off the floor. Exhale, lower down. Strange cobra. 2 more like this. Use your full breath. Last one. And lower everything down. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Press into your hands. Press yourself through a tabletop. Come into a child's pose if you wish, or a downward facing dog. I'll leave that up to you. Breathe wherever you are. That's it. And then let's come into a downward facing dog. Whew. Feel the strength of your hands. Every time, always take the time to set up your base. And from here, as you inhale, we're going to take the right leg up and back. Exhale. Slowly glide your shoulders over your wrists with control. Draw the knee into the chest. Hollow out the belly. Press the floor away. Look forward. Step the right foot forward as far as it'll go. Lower the back knee down. If you need to pick up your ankle, go ahead and do that. Set up your base. Knee over the ankle. Here we are. Low lunge. Breathe. Bring the fingertips to the floor. Press into your hands. Lift up this right foot. Step it back. Downward facing dog. Take a full inhale here. Then a full exhale. On your next inhale, take the left leg up and back. Here we go. Glide the shoulders over the wrists with control. Hollow out the belly. Look forward. Step that left foot forward as far as it'll go. Lower the back knee down. If you need to pick up the ankle, go ahead. Knees over the ankle. Here we are, low lunge. That's it. Bring the fingertips to the floor. This time we're going to step the right foot forward beside the left. Step the feet wide apart. Have a block underneath your hands if you need. Turn your toes out slightly. Let the head go here. So we're in this mini, kind of wide, not too wide, forward fold. That's it. Your knees always travel in the same direction as your toes, so your feet can be parallel, your toes can be turned out slightly. Bring the left hand right underneath the chest, between the middle of the feet. Take your right hand to the waist, and just slowly start to twist to the right. Breathe here. And then bring the right hand where the left hand was. Bring the left hand to the waist. Twist. Come all the way back. Okay, with your fingers on the block or on the floor, bend your knees, send your weight into your hips, bring your forearms onto your thighs. So I call this a football huddle stance. You can interlace your fingers. Keep the spine long. Feel the strength in your legs. You can stay here, or you can bring your hands back to the floor, and you can slowly start to drop your tailbone down between your heels. Now, if you need something underneath you, 1 block or 2 blocks, that's fine. You can also take support underneath the heels. If the heels don't want to come to the floor, perhaps a rolled up towel or a small cushion or whatever you have. Wherever you are, let the hips drop down. Bring your arms to the insides of the legs. Press into the hands. Yogi Squat, Malasana. You can stay there, or if you're ready, it's still early. We'll come back to this again. So if you need the support of the block for the first one, go ahead. Take your time. Breathe. That's it. And then bring the hands to the floor. Slowly start to send the sit bones towards the ceiling. Let the head go. Heel toe the feet back together to about hip width. And again, you can have the block for your hands here. Turn sideways. Take your left hand to the outside of your right thigh or your ankle. If you want to have the right hand supported on something, you can bring it to the block there. And slowly start to bend the left knee. Use this left hand to twist the body to the right, like you're looking underneath your right armpit. You might feel this in the back line of the leg and the outer hip. Breathe here. Bend the knees. Bring the block over to the other side if you know you're going to use it. Release the hands. Take your right hand to the outside of the left ankle or the left shin. And slowly start to bend into the right knee. Push into that left heel as much as you can. Look underneath the left armpit. Breathe here. It's getting into the backs of the legs a little bit more. Release that. Let's do that one more time each side. Left hand comes to the outer right shin. Start to press through the whole foot on the right side, especially that inner heel and the arch side of the foot. Like you're trying to make the leg longer. You can bend the left knee, look underneath the right armpit. Last time, release that. Move the block over if you need to. Right hand comes to the outside of the left thigh. Breathe here. And then release that. Let the head and the arms be heavy. Take a halfway lift here, so lengthen through the back of both legs. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands to your waist. Press into the feet. Draw the shoulder blades together down the back. come all the way up to standing. That's it. And come into a nice standing position. Bring the feet together, palms face forward. Take a full inhale. And a full exhale. That's it. Okay, inhale, reach the arms up. Bend the knees, pull the hands down through heart center. Let it go. Take a halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands to the floor. Step all the way back. Right leg, left leg. Come into a downward facing dog or a tabletop. Take a full inhale here. And a full exhale. And then bring the knees down to the floor. All right, take your blocks to the front of your mat. I'm going to show you this hip opening series with a strap. If you don't need a strap, you don't need to use it, but I'm going to demonstrate with the strap. So you have the strap here. Take the strap around the ball of your right foot. So you've got that loop in the strap that I talked about in the beginning. If you need a moment to get that going, make sure that it can fit around your foot. Okay, so it looks like this. A little bit of a loop in the strap. Once you've got it around the ball of the foot, not the arch, but the ball, bring it between your knees and send the strap out the top left side of your mat. So it's there for you. If you know you need support under your bent knee, which is going to be your right knee, maybe you've got that small cushion, or you've got a towel or a blanket. And then from tabletop, we're going to draw the left foot forward, coming into a low lunge stance. So knee is over the ankle. Bring your blocks underneath your hands if you wish. Breathe here. Scooch the toes forward. So press into your fingertips. Come forward through the hips. Glide forward through the hips. The pelvis is heavy. We're keeping the chest lifted. We're not curling and collapsing over top of that thigh. So use your blocks, whatever height you need. That's it. And breathe into this. That's it. Lift the chest. Smile. Laugh if you can. Maybe you've got some music playing in the background. That's it. This is where you really might need to use your breath. All right, and let's extend this front leg. Bring your blocks back beside your hips, whatever height you decide to use. Keep the spine long. Send your hip back over your heel. Your blocks will be beside your hips. Try to lay your chest on your thigh. So bring as much length into the back of the leg. So now you can see why when we get into the hips, we need to warm up the feet and the legs also, right? Breathe. They are not mutually exclusive. You can point and flex the foot here. Or you can try to windshield wiper through the leg. Getting a little bit into the hip here. So you've got lots of options. You can ignore me. You can skip this part. Well, I don't recommend skipping this part because this is the part that's juicy and good for you. But you're in Ardha Hanuman, half split. Keep breathing. Keep trying to lay the chest on the thigh. And then let's replant the sole of the front foot. Bring your blocks with you. Again, press into your fingertips. Lift the chest. Glide forward through the hips. Let the pelvis be heavy. You're going to feel it in the hip flexor on the right side. Breathe. That's it. Good. Some of you might want to pick up the back knee and extend this way. But keep the spine long. Keep the chest lifted. And now, keeping the blocks where they are. Extend that front leg. See if you can keep the connection between the chest and the thigh. It's like you've got that bungee pulling your heart forward. You can point and flex the foot here. So this in itself is quite intense. Take your time. Use your breath here. This is not the time to hold your breath. Breathe. And again, you can take some movement through the hip here. All right, and then come back onto that front foot. Nice job, lift the chest. All right, we're gonna set the left block aside. Pick up your strap, it should be on the left side. Bring it over your shoulder, like a backpack. Bend the back knee, bend your right knee. Flex the toes on that foot right away. And then choke up on the strap. You might stay here. So it's around the ball of the foot. Breathe. This is a totally perfect position to be in. Make sure the knee is over the ankle here so you feel supported. Lift the chest. Some of you maybe don't need the strap and you're going to reach back with your hand and grab the outer blade or inner blade of the foot. If you can, square your chest and your shoulders to the front edge of your mat. So there's a couple things you can do here. You can, if you've got the strap, you can resist the strap with your foot. You can choke up on the strap a little bit. I recommend shifting your hips back so that your heel and your bum come a little bit closer towards each other, and then draw that whole unit forward. So now you're getting into the thighs here. Again, connected to the hips, very important, right? Breathe. And then carefully release that. That's it. Good. Release the strap. If you had your block here, bring your hands back to the block. And then heel toe that left foot wide. I'm going to come back facing forward again to the wide edge of your mat. Turn your toes out so that your knee travels in the same direction as your toe. So know that you're able to keep the foot parallel. It's a little bit more intense. If you turn the toes out, make sure your shoulders are squared up underneath you. That's it. And you can stay here. Hip opener, right? You can start to draw the torso a little further forward. So coming into lizard. Maybe coming onto the forearms. Maybe lifting up the back knee. There's all kinds of levels here that you can go to. You can stay at the bus stop that you wish. Maybe the hand comes onto the thigh. Maybe you've got your strap and you're going to do a thigh stretch here as well. So I'm just offering different things. Stay wherever works for you. You can come to the outer blade of the foot and let the knee open. So the knee should be over the ankle. Flexing the foot protects the knee. Should be no pain in the knee here. So please be mindful wherever you are. Full, slow, deep inhales. Full, slow, deep exhales. And then you can come back up onto the blocks when you're ready. Heel toe the left foot back. Whoa, this can be intense. Set your blocks aside. Bring your hands to the floor. You can come into a tabletop position and just open that hip, or a three-legged dog and open the hip, or make some hip circles. Or stay in tabletop and do some hip circles. Whatever feels okay for you. Breathe wherever you are. And then get ready to do the other side. So remove the strap from your right foot. Set yourself up again on the whole other side. So take the strap around the ball of your left foot. Again, it will come between the knees. So thread it between the thighs all the way up to the top right corner of your mat. Right, you're in tabletop. You can do this from down dog as well, okay, if you want more of a challenge. Step the right foot forward. Make sure the knee is over the ankle. So we did that low lunge as a bit of a warm-up. So you're ready for this. Bring your blocks underneath you. Good, and press into your fingertips. Lift the chest. Glide forward through the hips, let the pelvis be heavy. And you can make sure that the knee is over the ankle. So you don't want the knee too far past the ankle. That's dangerous. Okay, scooch that foot forward so that you can get more into the lunge here. That's it. Breathe. And use your blocks. Use whatever height you need. Keep moving the toes forward as you get a little bit more mobility through that hip. Smile. All right, now we're going to straighten the front leg. Bring the blocks back beside us. Come onto the heel. Flex through that foot. Right? It's going to protect the knee. Lift the chest. Try to lay the chest down on the thigh. Breathe here, and this side might feel different. You can point and flex this foot. Or you can windshield wiper through this foot. The whole time here, please make sure that you're breathing. That's it. And maybe the knee is bent. That's fine too. Right? Everybody's going to be different. And then second time into this low lunge. Walk your blocks forward. Again, lift the chest, glide forward through the hips, let the pelvis be heavy. Option to pick up the back knee. Gets you a little bit deeper. And maybe you're not using the blocks at all. That's fine too. All right, there is no right or wrong here. Please use blocks. Okay, I come to too many yoga classes where people feel like, oh, if I use blocks, I'm not as good. There's no such thing. This enhances your experience. It gives you a little bit more into where we're intended, into the hips, rather than worrying about if your fingertips come to the floor. All right, so breathe into this. Okay, the second time, we're going to keep the blocks where they are, beside the front foot. Extend this leg, send the hips back, but keep the spine long. Try to keep the chest connected to the thigh if you can. And the knee might be bent. That's okay, breathe. Take as much length into the back of the leg and through the spine as you can. And then replant the sole of the front foot. Okay, so here we are. We're going to set the strap should be in the top right corner of the mat. So you set the right strap aside. You can keep the right block aside. You can keep your left block. Pick up the strap, bring it over your shoulder, bend the knee, flex the toe on the back foot. And again, you can just resist the strap, or you can choke up on the strap. I recommend shifting your hips back so that your heel and your bum get a little bit closer towards each other. Keep that, and then bring the whole unit forward. That's it. Try to square your hips and your shoulders to the front edge of the mat. Some of you might have your hand here instead. Wherever you are, breathe. Feel the stretch in the thigh. Make sure the knee is over the ankle. You might have support underneath the left knee. Breathe here. This is where music is helpful. Full, slow, deep inhales. On the exhale, let go a little bit more. See if you can ease into that. The thighs are tricky, but we can't open the hips if we don't open the thighs, right? So, and then slowly let that go, whether you have the strap or the foot. Bring the foot back to the floor. Set the strap aside. Bring your right hand to the inside of your right leg and then heel toe this right leg wide. You can bring your blocks back underneath you if you need. Turn your toes out slightly so they travel in the same direction, so your knee travels in the same direction. Good, you can stay here. This is perfectly fine. Or you can slowly start to draw the heart forward. Again, getting into the inner hip here a little bit. Breathe. You might even ski boot the foot and let that right knee come to the right. Wherever you are is where you're meant to be today. Know that this side might be different than the other side. So just go with it. Some of you might take a little bit of a thigh stretch here or a bit of a twist. Again, lots of options. Full, slow, deep inhales. Full, slow, deep exhales. And then when you're ready, you're going to slowly press yourself up. Lift the chest. Heel toe this foot back so that it's right through the midline and one hand on each side of the leg. And now you're going to press into the hands. Take the leg back. You can come into a three-legged dog. Open the hip. Make some hip circles. Or tabletop and make some hip circles. Yeah, it went how it went. Good job. That is an intense series. So this can be maybe enough for one day. Maybe you've had enough and you can pause the video here and pick it up again another time. I'm going to move into a few more hip exercises, hip openers, so you can continue on, like I said, or pause, whatever you need, okay? So if you're still with me, we've taken some breaths, done some hip circles. You're going to set the strap aside for now. Come into a tabletop, take a cat-cow. Just connect back to the breath. And again, from tabletop or from a downward facing dog. I'm going to do this from down dog. I'm going to take my left leg up and back and then glide the shoulders over the wrist. I'm taking the left knee outside my left wrist. We're coming into pigeon. So your left leg is going to come on a diagonal towards the right hip. It does not need to be parallel to the front edge of the mat. Some people can do it, some people will never do it. Doesn't matter what flexibility is. Some hips just are not built that way. Okay, remember your hips are a ball and socket joint. So some people have more shallow hips, more, you know, so don't worry about it. But the leg needs to be engaged. It needs to come over to the right side of the body. Your right leg is going to come straight out from behind you. Check to see that it is. You're on the top of the foot. So you're not sickling the ankle out. You're coming to the top of the foot. The hips are square. Good. And you're going to feel the engagement here. Lift the chest. That's it. And you might slowly start to lift yourself down. Sorry, not lift yourself down. Lower yourself down. And breathe here. So allow as much opening onto that hip as possible. I recommend that you take a block underneath the head so that you're not using your effort to hold the torso up. And you can just shift into that hip just a little bit. Breathe. Notice how this feels in the body. Now, if for some of you, if pigeon does not work at all, then you're going to roll onto your left hip. You're going to bring your left shin parallel to the front edge of the mat and your back shin parallel to the long edge of the mat. So left leg is in front, right leg is in the back. Bring your whole body over to the left side. Take some support underneath the head, whether it's a bolster, a cushion, a block, whatever it is. So both legs are in a 90-degree angle. We call this 90-90 pose. You might start to walk your body towards the midline. Let the head go here. So that is also an option. If you're feeling something in the hips, then that's all good. That's what we want, okay? If you're still in pigeon, you're breathing here. Get as heavy as you can into the outer left hip. And you might shift back and forth just ever so slightly. Again, let go as much as you can on the exhale. When things are tight, don't hold your breath. Breathe deeper. Last few breaths here. And then slowly, wherever you are, whether you're in pigeon or 90-90, you're going to roll onto your left hip. Bring the torso up to vertical. Use your hands. Bring this leg around. The right leg is going to come over top the left. Okay, and I'm going to move this out of the way. One hand on each side of the hips. Lift up the sit bones. Place them down evenly on the mat. Sometimes it means just moving that heel out of the way so that you can shift onto that hip. Now, if you're leaning over to the left, maybe it means you need to extend the left leg in front so that your sit bones can be even. You're going to engage the foot. Either way is fine. One is not lesser or more. All right, so find what works for your hips. Make sure the sit bones are even. Zip up the core. Take the shoulder blades down the back. Yeah, so sitting tall. We're not curling over the spine. If you're curling over the spine, it's another sign to bring this left leg out in front. Okay? So wherever you are, sit tall. Feel the evenness of your sit bones. You might need a moment just to shift around. That's fine. You might feel your outer hips here. That's good. That's what we want. All right, let's take both fingertips over to the left side of the body. The right arm might connect to the inside of the right leg. Take this left fingertips behind you, tent them, press into the fingertips. And the tendency might be to shift onto the left hip, right, so that we can twist. Push yourself back onto that right sit bone. Lift the chest a little bit more. Breathe here. You might feel this in the outer glute, the outer hip. Enjoy this stretch here. Full, slow, deep inhales. Full, slow, deep exhales. One more here. Take your left hand a little further back. So we were here. Take it a little further back. Tuck the chin into the chest. Keep pushing back over to the right sit bone. Again, you might feel this in the outer hip here. And then sit nice and tall. Untwist. Bring your right hand beside the right hip or behind you. Extend the left arm up. So now we're coming into a more traditional Ardha Matsyendrasana. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist towards your bent knee. So you're bringing the length to the front of the body. We're pulling the low belly in, rotating the rib cage around the spinal cord, the collarbones. The gaze comes last. It doesn't need to come at all if it doesn't work for your neck. Same thing here. You might notice that you're shifting back onto the left hip to get away from the sensation in your right hip. Go to the feeling. Press into that. Lean a little bit more evenly into the sit bones, but bring length from the pubic bone to the chin. Feel that length here. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. One more breath here. Full inhale. Slowly exhale, let go. Allow your right hand to come back. Switch back. So we're here, we're sitting nice and tall, right? I'm going to let the right hand drop back a little bit. Tuck the chin into the chest. Curl through the spine. Again, you might feel this in the outer hip. Breathe into this. If your leg is in front, it all still works, right? Keep breathing wherever you are. And then inhale, lift the chest. Use your fingertips. Now, if the leg is bent, I'm going to try something here. Face forward. If the leg is bent, untwist. Carefully bring your hands to each side of the hips. Push your weight forward. Stack your knees on top of each other. Flex your feet. And see if you can sit back between your heels. You might need something here to come onto. Cow face pose. Yeah, breathe here. Flex your feet to protect your knees. I can't get my hips all the way down, so I bring something underneath my hips. Or I can't today. Some days I can, but I can't today. Lift the chest. Feel this here. You might want to hinge at the hips. Bring your fingertips forward. Walk them forward. Keep the spine long. And then to come out of this, shift your weight forward. Uncross the left leg from behind the right. Whew. And take some hip circles, or a cat-cow, or a tabletop, or a child's pose, whatever you think you might need. Breathe. How was that? Always a fun one, right? So that's a whole series that you can do. That was one side. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. All right? So here we go. From tabletop or downward facing dog. Take a full inhale. Full exhale. Take the right leg up and back. With control, glide your shoulders over the wrist. Pull the knee into the chest. Allow the right knee to come outside the right wrist. Extend the left leg straight up from the hip. Come onto the top of the foot. Check to make sure the hip isn't opening and the ankle isn't sickling. Okay, so by that I mean you're not doing this with the leg here. You're on the top of the foot and the hips are square. Okay? Same thing here, where the right leg is coming over to the left hip. Square your hips and your shoulders. Use your blocks for support. This is perfectly fine. All right? Feel this here. The shin might be parallel, it may never be parallel. Don't worry about that. Now, if your leg is underneath you, then you know that pigeon isn't for you. Okay? You want that foot to come over to the opposite side. So if that is the case, or if you can't be on the top of your foot, you're going to do the 90-90. You're going to bring the right shin parallel to the front edge of the mat, the left shin parallel to the long edge of the mat, and you're going to have these two 90-degree angles in your legs. The feet are flexed. That protects the knees. Then you take your torso all the way over to the right, and you might rest there. You might be able to walk your torso towards your midline. When you find that sweet spot where you feel like you're getting some sensation, we call that finding your edge, right? You're going to stay there. And you're going to breathe. And you're going to allow that hip to open. This is where focusing on the breath, if you know Ujjayi breathing, you're constricting the back of the throat. It brings a little bit more activation to the breath. If you're in Pigeon, you might have the forearms down and support under the head. Wherever you are, breathe into this. I can't stress this enough. This is where we tend to hang on and tighten and clench. Please try and do the opposite. Allow your breath to let go. One more breath here, wherever you are, whatever you've chosen. You can pause the video and stay longer if you wish. Or you might think I'm flat out crazy. Okay, wherever you are, roll onto your right hip. Bring the torso to vertical. Use your support. Let's take this back leg. It's the left leg. We're going to bring it around and across. One hand on each side of the hips. Lift up the sit bones. Place them down evenly. They're not even, no problem. Extend the right leg out in front. Engage the toes. Zip up the core. Shoulder blades come down the back. We're not curling through the spine. If you're curling through the spine, take some support underneath the hands. All right, to lift the chest. You want to engage all those muscles. If the knee is bent, here we are. Get the heel out of the way. Sit up tall. Bring both fingertips over to the right side. Left arm comes to the inside of the left leg. Right arm reaches back. Press in the fingertips. Shift the weight back onto that left sit bone a little bit more. Bring length to the front of the body. It's not about the twist here, it's about getting into the outer hip. So you're not worried about taking that torso too far, but you want to make sure that you're shifting onto the hip so that you can feel this in the outer hip on the right side. And that's maybe an understatement. Maybe you're feeling this greatly. Breathe here. That's it. And then allow that right hand to drop back. You can curl through the spine here slightly. Tuck the chin into the chest. And then sit up tall. Take the left hand beside the hip. Extend the right arm long. So feel the length in the body. Feel the evenness in the sit bones. Shift around a little bit if you need to. And then take the right arm over to the left across the thigh, or you can hug it into the chest. Again, feel the sit bones nice and evenly. The tendency is to rock back, to twist a little bit deeper. Instead, stay a little more rooted through the left sit bone. Bring length to the front of the body. And the neck can, keep the neck happy so it can stay long. It can come with you. Breathe wherever you are. With every breath, lengthen through the front of the body. With every exhale, let go a little bit more of that hip. It can be tight, it might be grabbing. And then allow your left hand to drop back behind, tuck the chin into the chest. Sink a little bit back into your sit bones. And then use your fingertips to bring yourself nice and upright. If you want to try the cow face pose, then you're going to rock yourself forward. Have your knees stacked. Flex your feet. And then shift your weight back. You can hang on to the outer blades of your feet. See if you can make your sit bones even. I've got something underneath my sit bones so I can lift my chest. It's intense. It might not work for you. You know to skip what doesn't work for you at all. Breathe. Should be no pain in the knees. Maybe tap the fingertips and walk them forward. Keep the spine long. This is for the outer hips. And then walk your fingertips forward. Come all the way up. That's it. And actually you're going to probably rock yourself forward to come onto your hands so you can uncross the legs. And you can do some hip circles. You can do some cat-cows. You can do a downward facing dog. And you can stack one hip on top of the other. So find whatever feels good here. Keep breathing. And then we'll all meet in a downward facing dog. So the legs should be quite open here. And as you inhale, take the left leg up and back. With control, glide your shoulders over your wrist. Step your left foot outside your left wrist. Feel the length here. So keep the knee off the ground. Draw the chest forward. And then step your right foot outside your right wrist. Let your hips drop down between your heels. Second time in Yogi Squat. Take the backs of the arms to the insides of the legs. Open the hips. Breathe here. That's it. And you can take one hand, let's take the left hand far outside the left foot and just open the right arm up. Or you can bind here if you wish. And then release that. Take the right hand wide. Open the left arm. And you might not be warmed up enough in the shoulders, but if you are, maybe you bind here. And then one more time through the center. Breathe. Yeah, that's it. And slowly lower yourself down. That's it. Extend the legs long out in front. Wiggle out through the legs and the feet. Nice job. All right. So sitting on the floor. And maybe you're going to pause the video here and you've had enough and you're going to pick this up another day or another time. I'm going to keep going on offering another set of hip openers here. All right? So hands are beside the hips. You can shift the weight forward so that your heels come a little bit closer towards your bum, and you can pick up the right leg, flex the foot, and cross the ankle on top of the left thigh. Your hands are here behind your fingers pointing towards your back body, and open here. Keep pulling the knee away from the torso. Lift the chest. You might challenge yourself and come into a reverse tabletop. Or you can stay here. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Maybe you're on your forearms. That is also an option. Okay? Breathe wherever you are. And then slowly take that right ankle off the left thigh. You can windshield wiper through the legs here. So flexing your feet, move back a little bit more into the frame, and then draw one knee in towards center, and then the other. That's it. So that's an option. All right, here we go. Pick up the left leg, cross the ankle over top of the thigh. I shift my hips forward a little bit towards my heel, and then I flip my hands around and I flex the toes on that left foot. That's important. Lift the chest. Breathe. Maybe a reverse tabletop here. Just a little bit of strength through the arms. Maybe you're on the forearms. That's it. And then take that ankle off. And windshield wiper through the legs again. Breathe into this. Okay, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Lift the chest. You can use a little bit of core to lower yourself down or race to slow, or you can take your hands behind your thighs. Come all the way down. Okay, we're going to move up here a little bit. All right. From here, same thing that we just did. Pick up the right ankle, cross it over top of the left thigh. Your left hand is going to come onto the right ankle. Your right hand is going to slide towards your hip crease. And just gently open here. Breathe. Flex the toes on the foot. Keeping this left hand on the right ankle, roll onto your left hip. Bring the sole of the foot to the floor if you can. If not, you're going to take a block underneath the foot so that the knee is over the ankle, and you're going to open through the thigh as much as you want. You can have the hand here. You can take the left arm out. Breathe here. And then slowly come to the outer blade of this left foot. Pick this whole unit up. Okay, keep the knees safe. Draw the right knee into the chest. Extend the right heel towards the ceiling. Circle out the ankle. You can walk the hands up the back of the calf. And then slowly release that to the floor. Let's pick up the left knee. Cross it over top of the right ankle. Right away, the right hand comes to the left ankle, and the left hand slides down to the hip crease, not on the knee, to the hip crease. And just open gently, any amount that feels okay for you here. Breathe into this, and then when you're ready, you roll onto your right hip. Make sure the knee is in line over top of the ankle. That's why I recommend the block underneath the foot. And then open again, like you're taking your knee and your thigh away from the torso. The left arm can open. Breathe here. And then again, press into the outer blade of the right foot. Pull the low belly into the spine, bringing everything up. Interlace your fingers behind the left thigh. Press the left heel towards the ceiling. Walk the hands up the back of the calf. Come all the way back down. You can squeeze the right knee into the chest. Left knee into the chest. Extend the right leg long. So let that hip flexor go. Breathe into that. And then switch sides. You can do that a few more times if you wish. Maybe opening through here, through the bent knee, opening the thigh towards the ceiling. But really let the hip flexors go on the other side. So that's just a nice release, right? Now you can bring the soles of your feet together, coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, Recline Butterfly. And let your hands rest on the belly and just let the legs open. If you want support underneath the thighs, where's my other block? You can take that. Okay, that's fine too. Some of you might want to try stacked butterfly. So in that case, you're going to roll onto your left hip. Take your right ankle, your right heel, on top of your left knee. Flex both toes on the feet, and then allow the right knee to open and stack. And you might need support underneath the other hip. The feet are flexed a lot. So this is stacked butterfly. See if that works for you. Breathe wherever you are. If you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, keep enjoying that. If your back is arching up, then maybe that's a sign that stacked butterfly is not for you. You want to connect through both the back of the sacrum, both hip bones in the back are connected to the mat. Okay, so you're not lifting up. To come out of this, you're going to come back over. You're going to bring the right knee over to the left side, almost coming into a supine twist, okay? And then draw both knees into the chest. Come all the way up. Good. And then again, you can come into butterfly. Pick up the left leg, flex the foot. Bring it over to the outer blade of the left foot comes to the right knee. And then allow the shins to stack and the left knee to open to the left. So notice how I'm connected through the back of both sides of my low back here. Okay? If I'm arching, then stacked butterfly is not for me. If I need support, that's fine. But make sure that you're not getting into your back to open the hip. You want the back to be stable. You want it to stabilize you, and then open the hips. So breathe here. And one side might be different. I'm a little more open on this side today. Breathe. Your hands can come to the belly. And then to come out of it. Draw the left knee over to the right side of the body. Draw both knees up into the chest, pull the low belly into the spine. If you're in Konasana, maybe you're going to lift up the outer blades of the feet. Interlace your hands. And everybody can take a happy baby here. Bring the knees wide. Notice how this feels different compared to when you started the class over an hour ago. If you've done the whole thing, if you've done it in segments, that's fine too. Flatten out the back. Hold up the ceiling with your feet. Breathe. And then you can draw the knees into the chest. Tuck the chin up. You can bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Press into your feet. Bring something underneath your sacrum. So not into the low back, but into the sacrum. Just a little bit of a lift. We don't want to get too much into a back extension here, although you can if you go higher with the block. And then extend the legs long. Really let the hip flexors go. The front of the body, the front abdominals, and the deep abdominals. Some of you might want to enjoy this. Or you can simply just bring the body long. Bring a flicker of awareness to each part of the body to let it go as you move through this. So release the feet and the ankles, the shins, the calves. Let your thighs and your hips and your buttocks be really heavy. Let them sink into the earth. Let your low belly sink into the spine. Relax your fingertips, your elbows, your arms, the backs of your arms, your back ribs. Let your head be heavy. Shut down your eyes. Relax your jaw and your throat, your cheeks, your eyelids. Take as much stillness here as you can. Shavasana is all about letting the nervous system reset. This is where the healing happens. This is where the muscle memory gets imprinted for the next time. This rest is what allows you to go a little bit deeper the next time. So it's very important that you take it. For some people, the stillness is the work. It's hard to be still. Try not to fidget. In a studio, you're a little more accountable to the other students that are with you, but when you're by yourself, it's easy to get distracted and just leap out of this. Please don't. So I'm going to leave you here, but I'll explain how to come out of Shavasana. When you're ready, you're going to bring awareness to your breath and to your body. Maybe with some small movements in your wrist and your ankles, your toes. You're going to take a deep inhale through the nose. Side out the mouth. Let it all go. Another one like that. Full inhale. Full exhale. And then slowly roll to your right side. Let your head rest on your arm. Pause here just for a moment. Take another breath. And then slowly start to draw yourself up to a seated position. If you can come into Tsukasana and finish off your practice with a little bit of gratitude, and I encourage you to do that. Sit tall. Come into whatever sitting position feels comfortable for you. Zip up the core, take the shoulder blades down the back. Bring your hands to heart center. Notice how you feel in your body. Whether you've done this all in one go, or if you've taken this over a few days, anytime you come onto your mat, when you're finished, bring a little bit of gratitude to yourself, to your body. We didn't get stiff and sore overnight, and there's no quick fix. It's not an easy silver bullet, one thing's gonna work magically and I'll feel better forever. So the fact that you're coming onto your mat and you're doing some of these movements for your body with your breath is all good. Thank you for joining me. Wishing you all well. Namaste. If you have any questions, you can email me at claracrupa@gmail.com, same as my name. And I hope you stay well. Take care, everybody. See you next time.